Today, I want to talk about the importance of vehicle trims. And I'm going to start with these Volkswagen Tiguan's, excuse me. This is an S, or this is an S, this is an SE, and then the one in the back is an SEL. And then we're going to look at these three Mazda CX-5s. This one's a Sport, this one's a Touring, this one's a Carbon Edition. And then we'll look at these Jeep Renegades. And just sitting on these Jeep Renegades for a second, I just want to say that trim can really change the appearance of a vehicle and how it's used, and should be a huge consideration when you're looking at a vehicle. So if I was looking, let's just say I lived in Colorado and I, had a cabin off of a dirt road, I wouldn't mind having this Jeep because it sits up a little higher. And when you look at the bumper's not flat, and it doesn't have like a ground effect style like this one does. So your approach angle can be, it's a little bit safer, less prone to damage on this one. You also have those tow hooks there. And then coming in the back of this vehicle, you can see this bumper is kind of angled up, and that one sits lower and this is flat. And I don't know if you can tell on video, but this one definitely sits up a bit higher, and it just looks more capable. And I like the styling on this one a bit better. And you can kind of see it from this angle. This one definitely sits lower. You got about 3 or 4 inches that you can play with more on the front of this one, this Trailhawk Edition, versus that one. So that's important. And I'm not going to actually get into those vehicles. The interiors are slightly different, but even the wheels on this one, the way they're painted, these are going to scratch less than these, in my opinion, because these have a glossier finish. These are more flat, less concave versus these. So that's a big deal. And we'll take a quick look at these. The interiors are not vastly different, but yeah. This one looks nice. The seating's rugged. It says Trailhawk here, which doesn't add anything. They both have the same engines, but here's how they look in the back. Speakers. Like I said, these hooks in the bumper are nice. This one's a 4x4. So it changes, your considerations with this vehicle. You might be looking at a Cherokee because you're like, yeah, these little Renegades don't do anything, but you could still have this small vehicle that's easy to drive, easy to park at the malls, and not have to jump up to a larger SUV just for capability, unless you're going hardcore, obviously. And I think that's a big thing. So trims make a huge difference. And we'll look in this Jeep real quick. This one doesn't have accents in the mirror, which isn't like an off-roading thing, but again, they can completely change the styling of a vehicle. This one's a little bit more bland. Same interior, it's just more pedestrian with less stitching, nothing in the seats. Excuse me. This one doesn't have 4-wheel drive. And this is one I wouldn't take off-road. So, we'll look at these Tiguan's. And I mean, a lot of times what I will do is look up the specs on vehicles. This is actually the SE, so we'll start over here at the S model, which for Volkswagen, S is the plain model, SE is a mid-range, SEL is usually top of the line, unless there's like a GTI or something like that. But I mean, this is a very popular SUV for Volkswagen. Hopping in, this isn't a bad look. You have your analog and digital here. The screen's not bad at all. It's flush. I like that. It's, into the dash integrated. This soft touch is solid. This does actually have 4-wheel drive. That's what 4Motion means. You have an electronic parking brake. But it's not a bad looking vehicle, but this is cloth. This is cloth. Cloth seating all around. Not too much contrast and stitching going on in here. No metal trim or anything like that. This is a very typical Volkswagen steering wheel, but this is not leather. This is some kind of foam material, but you still have Bluetooth, basic incandescent bulbs here. But I like the styling. I like how it's flat here. It's not a bad looking vehicle. So we'll step out. And this is just an S. So apparently Volkswagen allows you to get 4Motion on an S model. I don't believe this has an automatic tailgate. It does not. You have good space back here. You know, they give you this carpet. So they give you some stuff. Not a bad looking SUV at all. Decent wheels. This has 17-inch wheels. You have some cladding here. You know, you have vents back here. But you don't have map pockets and stuff. So, and then we'll step up to the SE trim. So these wheels look a little bit better. You know, they're kind of two-toned. These are 17 inches as well. Looking at this vehicle, you have, you know, chrome trim here, whereas you just have rubberized trim here. You have chrome here. You have no sunroof here. You got a panoramic roof here. And if you look, I do not believe this one has satellite radio. So that fin is indicative of satellite radio. So we'll pop the hood on this one. And this one actually has a third row. Third row's for babies, but you do get good room here. You can fold these seats down with these levers back here, so that's pretty cool. You still don't get an automatic tailgate, which is, you know, this is a compact SUV, but stepping here, you can see this is an SE. Like I said, this is a mid-range. These seats do slide up and down, and to get these to move, you just do that, or you can grab this and they'll come down. But there's not a ton of room back here, but again, this is a better look. This is probably leatherette, but you do have a panoramic sunroof, which is dope. Looking at the interior lighting, we have LED lighting. You know, it's about the same, but just you have metal tips on the window switches. You have a better infotainment system. You have map pockets back here. These seats look a whole lot better. This two-tone interior, this is soft touch. This is soft touch. This is hard touch. They both have accents in the mirrors, but this chrome trim is really often overlooked, but it's a major upgrade from that rubberized trim, which will start to look bad in time, versus the chrome. Yeah, the styling is just a bit better. This is soft touch here, and then these are all soft touch, but I love these metal accents here. So got this touch screen. Radio sounds good. This screen is great. It is touch screen. And then stepping out, we have this SEL, which, let me step back to the front of these. So looking at styling, this is just an S model, and it does have fog lights here. And so that's what's interesting about some brands, and this is why I say you need to know trims, just because you can get four-wheel drive. I'd probably rather have four-wheel drive than a panoramic sunroof. They're both great options, but with Volkswagen, you can kind of pick and choose things that you would think would be restricted to some of the higher models, like four-wheel drive and then fog lights. But I mean, I do prefer the look with fog lights. This one looks good though. They both have radar up front. I like the wheels on this better, but it changes the vehicle dynamics. I mean, they look good. Both look good in the back. But if you look at this one, you know, the shape of the rear is different. This one has a kick plate right here. So this one definitely looks more luxurious. This is the basic flat color. This is a metallic paint with a kick plate. They both have fake exhaust in the back. One thing I do like is that you cannot see the exhaust pipes in the back versus when they first started doing that, you could see them. So it looked really dumb. This is the SEL. This is top of the line, but you got your fog lights here. The hood on this one, I think, let's take a look. Okay, the hoods are about the same. But I just think with the upgraded trim, you have a bit more contrast. I would probably go with the SE. But again, you have this chrome stripping here. You have chrome right here, which you don't have on the SE. And then you do have a panoramic roof again. And so hopping into this one, you don't really get much more in this one. Because you have the pano roof. You do have the third row. These seats feel really good. I like the feel of these seats the best. You have carpeted inlays here. These doors feel very solid. I like the wheels on this vehicle. This one has 18-inch wheels. Stepping back here. These seats are very comfortable. This is hard touch. So, and this is an SEL. This is hard touch. So with Volkswagen, it's just very, very interesting how you can just basically take a trim and make it upgraded. I mean, this one's engine is the same as the other two. They all have a 2-liter turbocharged engine. So this one does have an automatic tailgate. You do get a lot of utility with this vehicle. I like the automatic tailgate. So we'll move over to the Mazda CX-5s. And, excuse the wind, but these all look pretty much the same. Both very good looking vehicles. From the front, I mean, you really cannot tell. They all have some kind of chrome built in. So Mazda doesn't really cheap out. I mean, the wheels on this look great. The wheels on this one look great. These are blacked out larger rims, you know, if you're into that. But let's take a look here. This is kind of the sport model. They have push button start. These seats are cloth. Soft touch. That is hard touch. You do not have metal accents on the window switches, and this one has a pretty small screen. It has one digital display. Looks like you have radar cruise control. So I don't know if Sport is a base model, but you have a parking brake, auto hold, you know, automatic climate control here. And then it looks like you do have some navigation here because it says nav there. But this is a nice interior. One thing I will say is that you don't have keyless. I mean, you do have keyless entry with the remote, but you have to unlock it with the remote or the key, which is kind of odd when it has push button start. Those kind of go hand in hand, in my opinion. But looking from the back, this cockpit looks good. You don't have a sunroof. You have traditional lighting in here. This is hard touch, soft touch, fabric touch. These seats are comfortable, you know. You don't have vents back here. So this is a nice SUV, but it is missing some stuff like vents in the back, you know. This has all-wheel drive. Again, this is a sport model. It doesn't have an automatic tailgate. You don't have controls to let the seats back here, but it's easy to do from those handles. No storage under there, but a solid looking vehicle. These are 17-inch wheels. These are 17s as well. So I think this is a step up, but you have leather seating in here with these inlays, and it just changes the feel. The seats kind of feel out of place, but this is soft touch. You have stitching here. You don't have any metal accents with these buttons, but I like this faux suede inlay. You do have vents back here. You have matte pockets here. Same kind of, you know, situation going on with the instrument cluster. And with everything else, you have Navi, and you do have heated seats in this one. So, and the climate control is a little bit different. This one's more automatic. You just set the temperature instead of a turn dial. So that's dope. You know, those seats are a bit more comfortable. Does look a bit more luxurious. And if you notice, you do have true keyless entry. So you can keep the remote in your pocket, which is a big deal for me. I just like that, you know. So this one doesn't have four-wheel drive. So these are kind of like the Volkswagens, to where you can just add random options. Those wheels do look small, so I'd prefer 18s. So that's nice. And then these are 19s. So these are 2 inches bigger. But this is the Carbon Edition. Let's see if it has an automatic tailgate. It does have all-wheel drive, automatic tailgate. They all have dual exhaust, but this vehicle sits up a little bit higher. I like these mats here. It's just a different feel. It's just a much different feel. Hopping in. This is a different feel right here with the stitching here. This is soft touch. This is soft touch. That's soft touch. That's soft touch. This leather is very nice. Like the stitching. And then you have red stitching in the door. I don't know why this stitching is not red. And just looking in the front, you don't have red stitching here too. I mean, the seats feel a lot better, but this looks just like the other ones. You do have a sunroof in here, but you have traditional lighting. So honestly, with these, I would say what we've seen with these manufacturers is that it's really not about trim. What I've learned in this video is it's more about picking features, and it seems like there's a lot of features that are spread across at least 3 trims on a lot of these vehicles. This one, you do have LED DRLs, as you can see. And I kind of like the look of these headlights better. You know, this grill's a little bit wider and just, you know, a different feel. And you do have turn signal accents in this, in all 3 of these. But, you know, on a lot of modern vehicles, you can completely change the styling and the look just by adding different features to the vehicle. So